Ever feel like your brain has a read and forget feature enabled by default? You finish the last page of a book, close it with a satisfying thud, and feel like a wiser version of yourself. Fast forward a week. Someone asks, "What was that book about?" And suddenly, blank. Just vibes. If that's ever happened to you, you're not alone. In fact, our brains are wired not to retain everything unless we give them a good reason to. But here's the good news. With the right approach, you can train your brain to become a memory sponge, or at least a very clever tea strainer. So let's dive into how to remember everything you read, or at least the parts that matter most. 1. Read with a purpose. Be a detective, not a tourist picture. Sherlock Holmes hunched over a witness statement. He isn't lounging by the fire, sipping tea and reading for ambiance. No, he's on the hunt for clues. Every line he reads serves a mission. But most of us read like tourists. We stroll through books, admire the scenery. That lovely quote, that interesting stat, maybe take a photo, highlight, then move on. Detectives, on the other hand, read like their next breakthrough depends on it because it does. Ask yourself, why am I reading this? What do I need to remember? How will I use this later? Tactic, turn every chapter into a question. Before diving into a section, write down something like, what causes procrastination? How does this book define success? What can I apply from this in my next meeting/class project? Suddenly reading becomes a mission. You're not just turning pages, you're on the case. Reading without a purpose is like grocery shopping without a list. You'll come home with snacks, but not what you actually needed. 2. Connect new ideas to old ones. Imagine your brain as a giant Lego city. Every piece of knowledge you already have is a brick. The trick to learning something new, don't just drop a new brick on the floor. Snap it onto something that's already there. Your brain isn't a neat filing cabinet, it's a messy spider web. The more connections an idea has, the stickier it becomes. That's why analogies and metaphors work so well. They hook the new to the known. Tactic. Ask yourself while reading, what does this remind me of? Where have I seen this idea before? Is this like something I already understand? Example, reading about feedback loops in a productivity book. Compare it to how a thermostat works. Room gets hot, thermostat detects it, air conditioner kicks in, room cools, loop begins again. Suddenly, feedback loop isn't just an abstract concept, it's the reason your house doesn't turn into a sauna. Even better, use personal metaphors. If you're into football, think of habits like drills. If you're into cooking, compare ideas to recipes or ingredients. The more personal the metaphor, the deeper the memory. 3. Notes that think, not just highlight. Let's be honest, highlighting feels productive. But unless you're planning to highlight your entire book and then never look at it again, which we all have, let's admit it, it's mostly a feel-good activity. Instead, take notes that force your brain to reprocess what you read. Tactic. Use Zettelkasten Light. Zettelkasten sounds intimidating, but don't worry, this is the chill version. Here's how. 1 idea per note. Don't cram everything into a blob. Make connections. Link it to something you already know. Example, instead of writing, habits are formed through repetition and cue response. Write, why brushing teeth is like training your willpower hamster. And under it, small daily repetitions build automaticity. Like a hamster running the same wheel, it becomes second nature. You'll remember that hamster long after you've forgotten the science behind it. Draw it, even badly. Remember the last time someone showed you a drawing they did in 3rd grade and you still remember it decades later? Meanwhile, that brilliant essay you wrote last month totally vanished. There's a reason for that. Visuals have VIP access to your memory. Your brain loves images. Evolution trained it that way. Long before we had writing systems or fancy note-taking apps, we remembered which berries looked poisonous, what the tiger looked like hiding in the bushes, and who still owed us a fish. When you draw something even horribly, you're giving your brain a multisensory hook to hang the idea on. 4. Teach it to your dog, the Feynman technique. The legendary physicist Richard Feynman had a simple rule. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it. So here's your test. After reading a key idea, try explaining it to your pet, a curious 10-year-old, your slightly confused but well-meaning uncle. Tactic. Summarize in your own words, no peeking. Put the book away and say, so basically, what the author's saying is, if you struggle, that's great. Struggling is thinking. It means your brain is doing the heavy lifting of converting input into understanding. Write your explanation in a notebook. Call it your Explain Like I'm 5 journal. Example, brain science, neuroplasticity. From the book, the brain is capable of reorganizing itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. Explain to your dog, my brain is like a garden. If I keep walking the same path, it turns into a trail. If I stop using a path, it grows over. And if I walk a new one enough times, it becomes just as strong as the old one. So every time I learn something new, I'm planting a new trail. 5. Use spaced repetition. Here's the brutal truth. Your brain forgets on purpose. It's a survival feature, not a bug. But we can hack it. The key is to review right before you forget. That way, each review strengthens the memory, like adding more glue each time. Tactic. The spaced repetition schedule. Day 1, the day you read it. Day 3, day 7, day 14, day 30. There are tools to help. Anki, Quizlet. Think of your memory like a campfire. After you read something, it's a tiny flame. If you do nothing, it dies out. But if you toss in a little review just as it's about to sputter, whoosh, it flares up again. Do that a few more times, and soon you've got a solid fire that burns on its own. Let's say you read a book on habits and learn this golden nugget. Environment is stronger than willpower. It clicks. You love it. But in a week, gone. Unless you review it on day 3, maybe write a sticky note and put it near your snack drawer. You review it again on day 7, maybe you explain it to a friend. You revisit it on day 14, maybe you spot it again in your notes and draw a cartoon of a donut overpowering a gym shoe. Each spaced encounter strengthens the memory and increases the chance you'll actually use it in real life. Read like a craftsman, not a collector. Here's the difference between most readers and great readers. Collectors. Gather books and knowledge the way magpies collect shiny things. Craftsmen turn ideas into tools. They build with what they read. You don't need to remember everything, just enough to build something new. Whether it's a smarter habit, a sharper insight, or a story you can share, reading is meant to fuel creation. So next time you pick up a book, don't just aim to finish it. Aim to remember it, to use it, to share it. That's when reading stops being a pastime and starts becoming a superpower.